you warm. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love.
Good evening and welcome everybody, this is Obi-Wan Pez for Simplex Pachinko. We are listening to Nibiru's The Ghost at the moment. Alright, let's go to Exod and Neoni's The Revolution because hell yes. Alrighty, we are doing some mathy stuff tonight. As much as I want to finish my Coriolis Starport and Elite Dangerous, we do have, like, actual things to do here. Shocking. This Saturday, I'm going to be presenting on Penn Center's real analysis class. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Now well. At any rate, you can find it in Penn Center's info. So I'm going to be showing up on Penn Center's real analysis class. Should be this Saturday at about probably need to actually go over to huh. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Stuff happening that I did not get caught up on before coming here, which I definitely should have. Okay. Oh, because it's not the elements. Okay, it's the mathematics. There we go. Alright, so it should be 1600 UTC, which is 9 p.m. Pacific and noon Eastern on Saturday. So, provided nothing else randomly comes up, that should be when we do that one. So, hope y'all are having a good week so far. We'll be we'll be presenting on topics which include intermediate value theorem, mean value theorem, extreme value theorem, and L'Hopital's rule. So we talked with Horsey, and I believe that he had done the introduction to L'Hôpital's rule, and then we're just gonna go from there, get the rest of it. So, like I said, we'll be doing that this Saturday, hopefully. Everything should be okay. All right. So, in order to talk about like the more rigorous version, I figured we'd start working on the like basic versions, which are things that you would probably hear in a Calculus 1 class, or even pre-calc. Hey, Zach. As always, we should define where this actually is. So we're going to go through, Zach can do some of the basic definitions now, and then I've got the more rigorous stuff, so we'll talk a little bit about, probably very little, let's be honest, about the actual real analysis version of everything, but this is not going to be a practice session for Saturday. This is just organizing notes to make sure I got everything, at least in terms of the basic ones. Right, so in an extreme value theorem, we're saying that if f is continuous function on some interval a to b, then f is going to attain both a minimum and a maximum value somewhere along that interval. So I think that's probably the most basic one that we could even look at. At least of the things that we're talking about on Saturday. So, if we just think about it intuitively, right, think about just some function that has endpoints a and b, literally just draw something that's continuous, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how it looks, and then you say, okay, there is some minimum value and some maximum value, which have to be along this entire thing. Well, okay, clearly we've got a maximum value here.
Let your music taste shine.
Right, maybe.
Host a jam with your friends and share your favorite songs with the
maybe here.
And
And then we've also got a minimum value here.
Skips and repeats. Tap the banner to learn more.
I don't know, maybe something. Value theorems are extreme. Thank you, Megalomorph. Right, so we want to check both the internal values as well as the literal extreme values on A to B. So what is f of A, what is f of B, and then what are all the values in between. And it has to reach some sort of maximum and some sort of minimum at least once throughout that value. Boy. Oh, there it is. Pen decided it would roll away from where I put it down, so I just literally could not find it. Good times. Yeah, I mean, differentiation's super easy. Alright, so we have other... no. So there exists some x0, x1, such that f of x0 is less than or equal to f of x is less than or equal to f of x of 1, or f of x of 1 less than or equal to f of x less than or equal to f of x of 0 for all x on AB. Right, so it's pretty intuitive and pretty obvious in terms of like an algebraic way of doing things that we're going to have some sort of maximum and minimum values that are going to exist on any function you could possibly draw. And you could try drawing something that totally doesn't have a maximum or minimum, right? What if we just go like that? And again, like Zach said, this still counts our endpoints. So just let A be equal to our x sub 0, be equal to our x sub 1, and as it turns out, right, we get that first one. F of x0 is less than or equal to any f of x less than or equal to f of x sub 1 for all x in A to B. So, no matter how you try to, like, no matter how you try to kind of mess with your statement of the, sorry, getting distracted by the music, which is awesome, but So yeah, no matter how you try to like outsmart this particular definition, it's still going to work, and you can still show that we end up with this particular that it follows this particular definition. Oh, the pen, yeah. Gradients and steepest descent, it's not Calc 3. Right, so then we have to worry about, like, what about formalization? Because this is going to matter in the long run, especially when you're talking about real analysis, much more than just having an intuitive definition. Having an intuitive definition is really great, and you understand a basic level of it, but then the question always works like, well, what do you mean by all of these individual things? What do you mean by less than or equal to? What do you mean by a function value? What do you mean by, you know, plus? It's okay, right? It only took Bertrand Russell 400 pages to prove that 1 + 1 = 2. It's all good. So for the formalization, here we want to say, like, you know, what do we mean by all of these individual terms? What is the kind of base code that we're using in mathematics to try to understand all of this? So going back, right, all of the individual things that we need to talk about in order to get the formal concept would be the concept of compactness. Which we had talked about. Right, compactness. I want to make sure that I get my definitions right at least.
Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself.
For compactness, our space has to be closed and it has to be bounded. So we know for a fact that our space is going to be closed. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, just literally, right? It ends in... I was worried that it was a different definition than the closedness of having endpoints, right? Right, so a very basic definition of it. All values, including the endpoints, are within this particular space. And if I misspeak on me, just absolutely, you know, absolutely correct me. Thank you, Maxie. All points in a closed set, though. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're really talking about. It's just like, how do we define compactness? So the space itself is closed and bounded. So all the values, including the limit points. Thank you. If you mean boundaries and closure interior, probably. I'm not sure that I necessarily know that particular vocab. Closure interior set difference. Okay. Oh, okay. Can also be called by all of its points are within a certain distance of each other. Maximal open set contained within it. Uh-huh. Hey, Ben.
I
Hey,
have a pen. I have an apple.
it worked.
Apple pen.
Welcome on in, Pen. Did you activate it? Or did you just talk? Nice. So I put it on Blurp, and I don't... It must not be the same thing that Pen has for all of us, but you know what? I'll take it. It happened to work this time. Yeah, see, it didn't work for Zach either. Grr. It says autoplay. Anyway.
Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. The storm is coming. So you better start.
Yeah, we were just gonna kind of run through some of the basic ideas of like what we're talking about on Saturday, and then hopefully work a little bit toward making sure that my notes are slightly more complete than,
I'm coming for the throne.
well, more complete than I had them, so that I can actually, you know, help to facilitate the discussion. I mean, right now it's pretty much like, you know, here's the extreme value theorem. Here's the more formal definition of the extreme value theorem. Now let's do the proof by 1, discuss compactness. So it's going to be essentially asking students to, like, come up with what things do we think we need for this, and then making sure that all the parts are there in order to then use the proof. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Right. I don't know how... I really need to go back and watch your one from this weekend with Horsey, but... Thank you. Make you out to be enigmatic? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then did it include L'Hôpital's? The basic version? So he dropped me a message at some point. No mention of Epsilon Delta. Oh no! You want me to throw that in there too? Yeah. So yeah, Horsey sent me a message and said like, you know, what was your plan of what you're doing, and what did Penn say for you to do? And I said that we were discussing, like, proving L'Hôpital's rule, but not, I guess his was already to have discussed it at that point, but, yeah, I mean, it's challenging to prove at the real analysis level. We actually have a proof of it in our Calc 1 book. Requires the generalized... Oh, yeah. And, like, it's 400 years of work. It didn't take that long, but nonetheless. Okay, 200 years of work, because it really took from Newton until Weierstrass to really, like, get the notions of limit with the formal definition with the epsilon delta stuff all together. And I guess, like, technically, right, Guillaume de l'Hôpital was. Yeah, he was late 1600s into 1700s. So that was before Weierstrass anyway. Didn't think it was worth it. All right. I'll keep that in mind. I mean, if I'm getting really technical about it, it's probably above my chops. But using Infemum and Supremum wouldn't be technically too bad. It's just counterexamples, hang on. Proof, general. Yeah. There's a bit in here that appeals to squeeze theorems. That might be okay if we can get that part. Essentially, we're looking at the limit of an infimum and the limit of a supremum, finding out that those are the same value. So, that might work. I'm gonna have to spend much more time and actually, like, sit down and write it and rewrite it multiple times. As it stands, I was doing most of my initial notes while doing cargo hauling for Elite Dangerous, because I'm building a station now. And nobody's helped me. It's taken... I mean, I took today entirely off from doing it. I have not touched my computer all day because I was out shopping for groceries, and then I went to my son's football fixture, UK football, wherein one kid landed elbow first on the ground, stood up and was like, "I broke my arm," and everybody's like, I don't know, oh no. Yes, we think he did. And then this kid who's like, I don't know, 10, definitely hit his growth spurt in the last like 2 seconds of like the entire day. Ended up kicking a line shot off the ground, and it hit a kid just in 3rd year, so 2nd grade, 8 years old, just directly in the face, and like knocked his head like a good 40 degrees back from where it should have been, and I was like, "Oh!" And then he was just like, he was standing the entire time, and he's just like, you know, stunned, dazed, and then like starts walking toward the sideline and starts crying. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, there you go. We're okay." So that was the kind of day we were having. And then I cooked dinner, and now I'm here, so. But it's essentially been non-stop all day. Just as the first time I've actually had to, like, really sit down. Sitting's nice. I also have to do my trivia, so we'll have to think a little bit about that last question. Alright, so yeah, if my interpretation of what Maxie has been saying is completely and utterly wrong here, please, you know, shred it. It's been since, what, last year since I really have looked at, no offense, Zach, sorry, since I've looked at real analysis. So it has been a bit. If I'm saying it wrong, then this almost certainly, I'm almost certainly saying it wrong. Alright, so to deal with compactness, we're saying that the space in question, in this case, are real numbers between A and B, whatever real values we're picking for this, must be closed and bounded, so the must. To say it's closed, the closure is within the space, and right, that's the minimal closed set containing the space in question, which is literally just A to B closed. And to say something's bounded, it must have a finite extent, so we can't go off to infinity any particular direction. This has to have what is it? Contains its, I guess Zach would probably, well, Zach or Maxie, right? So here, if we're talking about having finite extent, being bounded, it has to include its own limit values. Oh my goodness. Oi, what are you doing? Skipping all over the place. Oh, okay. So the special case of the L'Hopital's rule proof that we see in Wiki. So that's like, where is it? 2/3 the way down. The special case is the one that we usually typically see inside of Calculus 1 textbooks. Saying that our f of c equals g of c equals 0. Right, and g prime can't be 0 at any particular c. Alright, the general proof is given from Taylor, not that Taylor. 1952. Anyway, we'll look at that a little bit more probably later. Just want to think about this. Again, probably saying it wrong. Yell at me. Documents. Math. Oh, hey. Zach's real analysis. Problem sets. Network error. Shh. Yeah, for some reason my Windows computer does not particularly like Twitch, and I think it has to do with the video card being out of date, but like I don't have any newer video cards that I could possibly put in there, because that the motherboard supports, because the motherboard is also old. But I'm tempted to just nuke the whole thing and start over with Windows 10, but we'll see how that goes. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so I've been also working on migrating all of my content from Twitch to my YouTube pages, because I have pages. Might as well drop those in as well. So, they're not particularly, like, great or anything, but they work. Why doesn't that match up? That's really weird. New graphics cards look crazy. I don't even know. I haven't like looked at hardware in quite a while. I mean, I've got the Linux computer here is only 2 years old, I think, give or take, and like it's fine. I don't think I've had any problems with it. Apart from, no, that's a lie. Apart from not being able to get Audacity to work, but then again, I can't get that to work on the Windows computer either. And I can't get DaVinci Resolve to work on Linux, or Fold it for that matter. Like, I don't understand what the issue is. Anyway, yeah, the issue that I'm having anyway is that we've got I went and talked with somebody from the Fold It user base and said, like, you know, this is the problem I'm having, and they were like, oh yeah, well, you know, you have some incorrect settings or whatever, type this in the console, and I did that, and then it should work fine. And when I then tried to do what they did, it was like, no, now it's giving me the error that it listed at the beginning of this thread. And it's like, and I've already done the, I think it was the linking. Anybody who knows Linux, ln -s is the command, and it was like, you know, you're supposed to... Ubuntu, for some reason, does not know how to connect the executable with whatever other links need to be done. So, once you make that, then it should work fine. And I'm like, yeah, it's not. And they haven't answered me. Anyway. I gotta stop. Just looking friggin' everywhere. Alright, anyway. Okay, Supremum of a subset, a partially ordered set P, is the least element in P that is greater than or equal to all other elements of S. If the Supremum exists, it is unique, and if B is an upper bound of S, then the Supremum of S is less than or equal to B. Supremum is also referred to as least upper bound. Okay. So if we want least upper bound of
sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now when I got you, it's all
right, least upper bound, which for this one, if we're looking at K is a set of the real numbers. It's continuous on a compact set. We're looking at F of K that's going to be right, using our function from above.
Been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive.
So we're letting alpha be supremum of f of k. The next line says, since alpha belongs to f of k itself. If alpha is the least upper bound of this particular function, right, then it has to exist itself within that function value, or that mapped set, because of compactness / continuity.
Have you ever wondered what a sandwich sounds like? Not much to it, is there? Unless, of course, it's a Walker's sandwich. That is good. Now that's what a sarnie should sound like. Go all crisp in with Walker's. Delicious.
Move around, let the skin shout, baby, turn it up, make it work, one more time, you know how it goes, baby, shake your hips.
So yell at me if I'm wrong.
Let the skin shout, baby, turn it up, make it work, one more time, you know how it goes, baby, shake your hips, drop it low, move around, let the skin shout, baby, turn it up, make it work, one more time, you know how it goes, baby, shake your hips, drop it low, move around, let the skin shout, baby, turn it up, you know how it goes, baby, turn it up, 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 you know how it goes, baby, turn it up.
I'm not sure if this actually necessarily contributes to the logic here, but, you know, again, let me know. Or if you just can't even hear me because, like, the music's too loud, let me know. Probably not. I think we're probably good enough front. Alright, so I'm gonna go change out laundry. So that's gonna be 3 minutes. Shall return. Yep, taking doggo for a walko. Awesome. Say hi to Reese. Alright, see you all in 3 minutes. Be right back. No, never mind. We already did an ad apparently. Very helpful Twitch. Awesome. It apparently left the thing on. And now we're just running an ad, so you can't even hear me. 3 minutes.
We could be holding up our light. We could be fighting for what's right. Or we could be falling to pieces. Under the bridge of fire burns. Somewhere the pages start to turn. And somebody whispers, I need this. I will do anything just to make you see. Don't apologize for what's in your dreams. Maybe this time will be different. It's only us. It's only us. It's only us There is a beacon in the night, found in the temple of our life, showing us visions of the future. So many faces left to find, down in the caverns of our mind. Need you to follow me deeper. I will do anything just to make you see. Don't apologize for what's in your dreams. Maybe this time will be different. It's only us. It's only us. It's only us
Well, anyway. What is going on over here? Righto. So hi, welcome back. Thank you for coming on in. If you are new, my name is Obi-Wan Pez. This is N-Simplex Pachinko. We are having a good time, doing some math. Looking at some real analysis slash calculus slash algebra type stuff. So If you have any questions on mathy type stuff, feel free to drop that into chat. If you're having a hard time... Nope, bot's down still. Okay. Well, anyway. Anyway. Now, unless I'm sorely mistaken here, right? This is going to be essentially the proof that we got for the extreme value theorem using rigorous terms. And using our real analysis type vocabulary. So we're going to let alpha be the supremum of f of the set K. Said that the set K is going to be a subset of the reals, and f is attaining a maximum minimum value within, or what we're trying to prove is f is going to attain a minimum and maximum value within K. And so therefore there must exist some x0 and x1 such within K such that f of x of 0 is less than all f of x less than f of x of 1, or again other way around, f of 1 is the small one, f of 0 is the big one. So without loss of generality here, we can state that if we can find one, we can find both by, again, similar / the same argument. So alpha is going to be our supremum of f of k. Alpha is going to belong to f of k by continuity of f and the compactness of k and f of k. Again, yell at me if that's just nonsense. So therefore there's going to exist some x1 within k such that alpha is going to be equal to f of x sub 1. So alpha needs to be within f of k, again because of the continuity of f and the compactness of k and f of k. I hope that's right. If you are left because my arguments are wrong. Also, there must exist an x1 in K such that alpha is equal to that f of x sub 1, which makes all this work. So then without loss of generality, we make the same argument such that wherein x sub 0 is going to belong to K such that beta is equal to the infimum of f of k, which is going to be the same as f of x sub 0. I hope that's working out for us. Alright, so for intermediate value theorem, this started out, again, back in pre-calc, where we talked about the idea that, man, that's setting me off again. I don't know what it is. Might be something at my desk. Can't figure out what is the issue. I'm itching all over my hands. Alright, I swear it wasn't this bad, like, off stream. Oh no, I'm allergic to stream. Alright, if... L is a real number that's going to satisfy f of a and f of b are around some value L. Then there's going to exist some value c within the interval a to b such that f of c is going to get us that particular value. Right, so we assume we're going to let f be some function that has values that map an interval a to b onto the real numbers, which is also going to be continuous. So again, work on intuitive understanding. We know that there's some f at a value here, f at b value here. There is some So, I mean, we're always doing this, but doesn't actually matter which way around those go. So f at a could be the lower one, or f of b could be the lower one. F of b could then be the upper one, or f of a could then be the upper one, respectively. So we have to have two separate values. Right, if we go like this, or we could copy paste this. Let's go with salmon just cause. Okay, we could reverse them on this other one. Make them like that instead. So for the intermediate value theorem, it doesn't really matter, right, which way this goes. It doesn't even matter what function is that we're looking at. The important part is that the function itself is continuous along that interval from a to b inclusive. Alright, so then we said if L is a real number that is between f at a and f of b, regardless of where, right? So pick an L value here. Then all this is saying is that somehow we have to get from the value of L, we have to get from the value f at a to the value f at b while doing a continuous function. Therefore, we must, at some point, cross that line L. Due to the fact that we're not going to go off to infinity, right? Can't do that. And we can't break any other rules like trying to go around it, because again, that goes off to negative infinity or positive infinity. If it ever overlaps itself, then it's not a function. There's, a whole bunch of different ways that people could try to get around this particular definition, but again, it's not going to work. There's only one way that we can describe this particular scenario, and that is that at some point, right, we must cross this at some point, and so therefore I can't do it as a That's terrible. Alright, so no matter what kind of weird function you might have, you may in fact have one that ends up crossing it like multiple times. Right, in which case it hits it in all of these different places. Again, it doesn't matter. The point is that it has to cross it at least once. So there must be logically some particular C value that exists between A and B. Right, we got this one here, which could be labeled as like C1. C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, and C7. So, intermediate value theorem is just saying that logically there must be at least one that's going to hit us somewhere in that interval between A and B. Then, in order to use a more rigorous definition of all this stuff, right, so again, could be the other way around. We don't really know, and it doesn't really matter. So without loss of generality, doesn't matter if we do it one way or we do it the other. If we show one way, then it's going to be the same for the other. So the arguments are all the same, the terms are all the same. The only thing we'd have to worry about is, like, are we substituting, again, Supremum for Infemum or something like that. So we just have to watch language. But overall, not a big deal. Hey, Punching! I know, right? You know what would really suck is if me itching this bad is because I'm allergic to like caffeine or something. No, just end it now. Simple algebra help. Yeah, go for it. Which one's that? Elements? Oh, holy hell. Okay. Yeah, I've got like... almost looks like hives. That's messed up. Looks like mosquito bites, but, you know, not.
We were
There's
humane
the white
society
welts.
international. Over 30 years of fighting
Okay.
for animals. Today we are called
I'm interested to know if that is from something in particular.
Commitment to end animal cruelty globally. Humane world for
Wow,
animals.
it's messed up,
End
man.
of animal cruelty.
Is it our laundry? I really hope it's not the laundry detergent.
Whether you're relaxing at home or out and
Because
about,
that's gonna suck.
make
Well,
your
no,
music
because I was folding laundry earlier and I didn't want to claw my hands off.
listen to songs
So it's
ad-free
not
and play
that.
them in any order. Tap the banner to learn more.
Might be dish soap, I guess. Gonna have to figure it out, because I'm starting to turn red here. Not particularly comfortable. Relative min or max? All right. So yep. What were your first steps? Mind over matter. Come on. It's not working. Which also would not be surprised if it is our dish soap, because we're using like the cheap ass version. Okay, so you found first partial derivative with respect to x, first partial derivative with respect to y. Fair? I think you will find that those are not the first derivatives, first partial derivatives with respect to x and y. Okay. Oh, okay, because you... no, actually, that's fair. Okay, yeah, you're good. I wasn't recognizing that particular... Wait. Sorry, I haven't done Calc 3 in, I mean, months or something, but it's fine. So x is, we take the first derivative with respect to x of what's down here, and then we get e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared. And then plus x squared plus 4y squared times e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared times negative 2x. Okay, so then you factored out 2x e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared. And then we're left with, that one is literally just 1, right? And then this is now going to be a minus, yeah, x squared minus 4y squared. Yeah. Right, make sure that that one's also negative. Eh. I don't think it's particularly going to be easy either way. So when you're trying to solve for zeros, I would argue that it's better to have as many products as possible, because again, you're trying to find zeros. So if we go with, this is f of x, f sub x, and f sub y, ugh, it's going to be equal to, this is again just going to be 8y e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared plus x squared plus 4y squared e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared multiplied by negative 2y, right? Then that means that we've got 2y e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared times the quantity. First one's 4, second one's a negative x squared minus 4y squared. Right. Yeah. Oh, you did 1 minus parentheses. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So, in our first one, 1 minus parentheses x squared plus 4y squared. Okay. Well, I mean, there's one more critical point. Right, so if we set all these individually equal to 0, then this is going to be 2x equals 0, or just x equals 0. E can never be equal to 0. I don't care what you put in the the exponent. So E is just going to be something. Right, we can get any positive value we want, given that x and y presumably have to be real numbers. So as long as they're real, then everything coming out of e to the whatever is going to be a positive number. And then we say, when is all of this stuff equal to 0? And that's just going to be x squared plus 4y squared equals 1. So that's an ellipse. Alright, so then when is the first partial derivative with respect to y going to be equal to 0? Again, here we're going to get y equals 0 from our first term. From our e, we're going to get nothing, and from our last term, we're going to get this thing, which again is another ellipse. So x squared plus 4y squared is equal to 4. Goodness. So again, this is an ellipse. Those two ellipses are non-intersecting. So we don't have any critical points like overall where nothing exists, or where both partial with respect to x and partial with respect to y don't exist. Right, that does not happen in this particular case. Let's see, we need to set an alarm for, let's go with 2 hours. Okay, so if we go over to Desmos and we say flashbang out, x squared plus 4y squared equals 1. Right? We get something like this. There we go. Take that exact same thing, copy, paste, and 4. And make that also red. Okay, and then we get x equals 0, also red. And y equals 0, also red. Right? Oh, wait, no. We should actually separate those. So, x equals 0 with the ellipse being equal to 1 is going to get our function with respect to x, derivative with respect to x, as being 0. So that, let's leave those two as red, and then change the other two to orange, just so it's in the same family. Okay. So. Where both f sub x and f sub x and f sub y are equal to 0, then we're going to have singular points. So here we have the locations -1, 0, 1, 0, and also 0, 1, and 0, -1. So those 4 locations, we're going to have singular points where we don't know what's happening there. So you're probably going to have to look immediately surrounding those particular points and say, like, what's the behavior around them? In addition, the outer points -2, 0, 2, 0, and 0.5 and 0, -0.5 only have their particular direction being equal to 0. So there's nothing like particularly or inherently special at that particular point. But that's where so those are where print screen. we go like this. We were saying that for the red ones, f sub x is going to be equal to 0. So that means that along this particular line, we could still have motion in the y direction only. So this is a bit of a differential equations trick, but I shouldn't say trick. Differential equation strategy, where like along this particular line, and also the set of ellipses, or the particular ellipse that is in red, then we have potential solution lines which are going exactly vertically. Our partial derivative with respect to x is 0. That doesn't mean that our motion in the y direction also has to be 0. And in fact, it doesn't. Explicitly, it can't. So everywhere along these boundaries, we could have motion for a particular yeah, so we have all these vertical possible solutions. Now I will say, right, like God damn it. I didn't read your message. Yay. Alright. So I plotted the partial derivatives with respect to x and y, and I color-coded them. So the red ones are where f sub x is equal to 0, and the orange ones are where f sub y is equal to 0. So in terms of our differential equations, like, right, we could easily just say, ignore these for a minute, right? What is right, you need a set of parentheses in the exponent. Squared minus y squared. And then up front we need x squared plus 4y squared. Right. Right, so this is going to have values pretty much everywhere. So we could form like a mesh grid and say, you know, give me the z value that's equal to all this stuff, and we could get a three-dimensional structure based on this. The more important thing, though, right? We said that in here, at all of our red points, or at all of our red curves, we have stuff where f sub x is equal to 0, so therefore it moves only in the y direction, if at all. So I don't know what the values are for these, but we just know it's going to be vertical as it passes through any one of these points. For orange, then it's going to be the opposite, where it's going to be completely horizontal as it passes through these particular points. With the exception that, again, when it gets to -1, yeah, -1010, or 010, -1, then we have a problem. Right, if you look at it, as we get to, again, negative, well, let's just do like 10, right? What is eh? 10. In fact, right? Like what's the vector that we're gonna get, essentially, for all this stuff? Well, we already know, we found already, that it's going to be 0 for both directions. But if that's our vector, that means that we're not moving. So, like, what's happening at all these individual points? Here, and here, and here, and here. So those particular 4 points in green are going to be singular, where there's no movement, right? There's nothing going on at those points. So therefore, if you start at any one of those points, you're never going to go anywhere. These are also what would be known as stable equilibrium points, which are really cool when you start getting into the like differential equations bits of it. We're not going to be doing that, at least for this, so it doesn't much matter. But both, again, our both of our oh, 5 points, right? So we got one in the center as well. So if you're looking at this as like a three-dimensional mesh grid in whatever app you got, we would have we would have probably done it in MATLAB way back in the day, but probably got something that looks like that. No, seriously, what the hell was that? Is it loose? Is my mouse getting hit? Like, what the hell? So it might look... might, for instance, look something like this. I don't even know. No. It's not, no. something like this. Back to this song again. It is. Huh. You know, not that I complain, but this this playlist has 1,652 items on it. So like, I'm not sure why we're back to this one. No? You're just gonna... Cool. There we go. Yeah, so there's going to be all sorts of fun, like, geometry to what's going on here. I'm not going to be able to draw this in 3 dimensions properly, but either way, we're going to end up with, again, 5 distinct, probably not symmetric minimum values, relative minima. So all of those 5 points are going to be relative. Oh, wait. Those are all... That's incorrect. Those are all extrema. They're not minima. So, actually, right? Got here and here. I'm very wrong about that. It's just too excited about trying to draw some complex, cool stuff. Scribble, scribble, scribble. So with it being like this, actually, right, to be fair, these are most likely really close to some sort of symmetric. I just don't know. I don't know what the values inside of each of the individual quadrants and things are going to be. Right, the term up in the exponent is symmetric because it's an ellipse, or it's describing an ellipse, and the term out front is again elliptical. So yeah, it's probably got an elliptic symmetry for all the individual values in all of the locations. So everything to in this region versus this region versus this region versus this region are going to be likely very similar to each other with similar values. Because every single term is being squared. Yeah, all of our x's and y's are being squared. So that's going to give us, that's literally going to give us fourfold symmetry. So this could be fun. Now I want to draw it. I mean, I could probably figure out how to do it on MATLAB and get something out here faster than I could in any other form, but I could probably also type it into Wolfram a lot quicker. Nope, not that.
Like a broken soul in a wonderland without angels.
What the crap?
That is how I feel when the mirror shows me a stranger. Yeah. And I know they're just fragments of a world where your absence all I get to see. Take me back to the planet where you and I are still meant to be. 'Cause I'm incomplete when you ain't by my side, when you don't wake up next to me. Yeah, I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up these empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. Yeah, I'm incomplete. Cause I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up these empty sheets.
Alright, so we got the contour plot down here, which is showing us the minimum value all the way in the center, 0, 0. We also then see the maxima points at 0, -1, and 0, 1. Yup. -0.5, 0, and 0, 1/2. We out here. Oh, no, wait. There? Is it 0, 1/2? No, 0, 1/2 is fine. 0, 1, 0, -1, and 1, 0, -1, 0. That was what I was looking for. Okay, so... Okay, so they're going to be out here, right, where this contour comes back in. Presumably that's going to, like, cut through and then keep going in the other direction or something. Ads. No. Right, so if we go -2 to 2 with both of these, that's getting us both the contours, min, maxes, and these points here, which, if you know what those are, tell me, because those are really cool. You should know what they are. Well, sort of. So if you notice, right, our the tops on the contour plot are relative maxima, and they happen to be absolute maxima as well. Not really the point. But then we come down here, we see at the bottom 0, 0 is going to be our absolute minimum, or actually it doesn't even have to be absolute, right? The sides can drop off even further. So those could be lower. It does look like they reach the same value as the ones on like the far outsides, but that could just be an illusion. It doesn't really matter. I don't care. Right, it's a contour plot. It's just approximate. So the thing about this is we have our minimum inside at 0, 0. And if you look backward and forward like this, then yes, you do see a minimum value on each of these points here, which are at these cusps on our contour plot. Right, you see that both of these things come down to what is essentially like parabolic type shape, right? Comes down, makes a minimum in this dimension. But what about in this dimension? So here it's coming like that. What about this way? So if you're looking at that, we're looking across here. Across our y equals 0 axis. Right, what does it look like is actually happening in this diagonal direction? Yeah, those are saddle points. So if you look at it going across in just the x direction at y equals 0, then we see that we dipped down to a minimum, and then we came up for a bit, and then we're coming back down again. So we've got that minimum point at 0, 0, it comes up a bit, and then starts going back down again. Now it does realistically look like it's just going to curve off and go essentially something like this. Whereas at the same time, this one's coming this way. So again, now you've got this saddle point. So it's curved down in one direction, it's curved up in the other direction. So that's where we get the saddle points. And again, you can see it sort of in the contour plot. You'd probably want a more, you'd probably want a higher resolution on contour in order to like verify that, yeah, this is actually, that yes, the contour has a saddle point at these particular locations. That you'd want to see more than just like it's this dark red color and then it has a cusp coming to it. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but whatever. Right, you'd want to see the gradient increase from 0, 0 out to 1, 0. And then start decreasing again past that. You can see it in that there's dark blue, there's dark red, then there's dark red and dark blue. And it looks like at the cusp point, it should be at the transition value, between the dark red and the not so dark red, orangey red, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we get some saddle points with those. It's really cool. Again, 3D plot really helps to be able to see that. Unfortunately, you can't move it around and get a better sense of what's going on. But, yup. So then you'd want to classify each of the types, which again, you're doing when you look at the second derivative. F XX, yep. So yeah, if we try to set that and look for F XX, right? You were saying we need to then
Play the music the moment is calling for, whether it's
squared
turning up the
plus
party or winding down
2x
to relax
equals
the
1
evening.
minus x
Curate the day's
plus y
soundtrack
squared
with ad-free music
times
listening and offline
negative
downloads on Spotify Premium.
2x
Tap the banner to learn more.
plus... Ah, wait, yeah. Let's not do all of that. Let's do it on, or from, the next line, which makes way more sense. I don't know why I just decided to go the other way. Anyway. 2e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared times 1 minus x squared minus 4y squared plus 2x e 1 minus x squared minus y squared times 1 minus x squared minus 4y squared times negative 2x plus 2x e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared times negative 2x. So you said that all those have a 2. All those have an e to the 1 minus x squared minus y squared. Yep. Okay, and then we've got a 1 minus x squared minus 4y squared. We've got an x minus 2x squared plus 1 minus x squared minus 4y squared. Minus 2x squared. Any particular like terms? Got a minus 5, 1 minus 5x squared. Minus 4y squared. Plus 8 x squared y squared plus 2x to the 4th. Pass. So, that's an interesting choice. Let's maybe, it might have, no. I was gonna say it might be better if we like moved it in and tried to complete the square or something, but you know, might look worse. squared, yeah. Minus 4x squared times the e term. Yep. Yep. That's also what I got. So, looking good. I mean, you set it equal to 0, right? In order to figure out where the values are that are going to cause it to change values. And in fact, you don't even need to. Right? You've got points to select. You've got points to try. And we know that the 2 and the e are not going to affect the sign of our second derivative. So, who cares? Right? They're both positive numbers. We don't care about those. We need to know whether f double x is positive, negative, or 0 based on the stuff that could potentially be positive or negative or 0. If we just have a bunch of positive stuff, like, that's not affecting the actual, it's not affecting the sign of any of this stuff. So ignore that for now. You just say it doesn't really matter. What matters is that stuff in parentheses at the end, 1 minus 5x squared, etc. And if you plug in 0, 0, for example, all those go away and you get 1. Therefore, the second derivative is positive, therefore it's concave up, therefore 0, 0 gets us a minimum. Alright, now repeat the same for all of these other values. And then you've got to do the same for fyy as well. And you say, okay, in the x direction, this is going to be positive. In the y direction, it's going to be... And then for 0, 0, again, it should also be positive because it's going up in both the x and the y directions. So we should have a minimum there. Alright, so then what's your prediction for what we're going to get for 0, 1, 0, negative 1, and negative 1, 0, and 1, 0? Alright, so you just have, at this point, a bunch of work to plug in each of those values and figure out what your second derivative value is going to be. Again, positive, negative, or 0, don't care about the number, really. So we can just eliminate that for now to say, yeah, we don't care about the number, let's not worry about the 2e to the whatever. Always positive. Meh.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Yep. Test your critical points from the first derivatives on all your second derivative equations. So again, fxx and fyy are the ones you need in order to figure out just what direction those are accelerating in. Well, no, because we already looked at it, right? We said... Right, but we already looked at it. We said that the ones that actually matter are the ones that have the opposite, or not opposite, the ones that have both fx and fy being equal to 0. So that was, again, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 1, 0, and negative 1, 0. So those were where both are red and orange were equal to 0. So therefore, if you started there, you're not moving. Right, those are equilibria. And then we just don't know what kind of equilibria we have for those. Right, a slight push in one direction should give you the same result as a slight push in any other direction immediately surrounding it. So we know that that's not actually going to be true because of the points we looked at it on the contour, right? 1, 0 and negative 1, 0 are going to get us these points here.
The Sky Vegas prize machine is free to play daily. And on each Friday until the end of March, your free spin is guaranteed to win. Simply opt in to win cash, free spins, or bonus rounds. Up to 2 days later, our standard prize template will kick in, and each prize comes with its own terms and expiry dates. Enjoy
Anybody else have any other
guaranteed win days
questions?
Each Friday on the Sky Vegas prize machine.
Or punching
Minigame must be played
follow-up.
for bonus rounds feature. Eligibility restrictions and T's and C's apply. 18+ gambleaware.org.
Alrighty. Cool, cool, cool. Oh yeah, no problem. And you know, that's part of like really being able to figure out all this stuff, is being able to know where your resources are. So if you can get like a plot in Desmos, a plot in Wolfram, in order to figure out what it is that you're looking for, or what values you're trying to find, that makes a big difference, definitely. Okay, I think I'm going to grab a drink and get in to try and finish hauling for my station, because I want my station. And allegedly, this means that I'm going to be able to be the sole proprietor of my particular system. So like, I get that star system and I get to determine what's going to happen to each of the individual planets, and nobody else gets to like mess with it. So we're going to try to get the economy going, allegedly, right? What should happen is we should be able to create like one planet that is entirely based around agriculture, one planet that's entirely based around extraction, one planet that's entirely based around refining, and then they give each other bonuses based on based on all that. And then the orbital stations that you create around each one then get the same traits or the same economies as the ones underneath on the planet. And again, they give each other massive bonuses to try and do some cool stuff. So, not really Space Warlord, just Kingpin sounds about right. So there are people who are already on like their 3rd and 4th and 5th stations and systems and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. Mostly because they went in and they built like a tiny little pirate outpost or something, and then started building up more and more stuff after that. Some people got their... so there's like a colonization module that you need on everything that had at the beginning it had so few items. There were like, 200 on any given planet, and then once you started taking them, they would just go down to like, the next time you went there in like, 5 minutes, you go up, you drop stuff off, you come back, you try to grab more, and they've only got 100, and then you go and drop them off and come back for more, and there's like 30, and that was it. And it would be like, okay, well, you can have 30 now, and in 20 minutes you might get another 30 to 50. So the production was really, really low. So what they did was they started, like, they brought the price up slightly, and they also brought the numbers, the rate at which they refreshed, back faster. And so I'm like, well, that means that essentially they're doing a capitalism where it's just like stats in the wild. Thank you, Greg. Hydrate.
Straight to the...
I know you can't actually see that one terribly well, but this is water at the moment. Yeah. So our there were people who rushed out and bought like all of them, and then they just kind of like sat there and kept collecting them and collecting them and collecting them. And then Frontier was like, okay, that's not enough, so we're gonna ramp it up. So they ramped up production, and it cost people more. Like they also increased the price of the individual items, and so it started doing a space capitalism where like now the supply went up, so or the demand went up, so therefore they increase the supply to match, and they try to like essentially just try to find the good amount that it's going to balance out at. Remembering that, of course, right, in Elite Dangerous, there are, like, the galaxy, the map, is a basically one-to-one representation of real life. So there's like 100 billion stars that you could potentially go and colonize. Obviously, we would never be able to do it, but there are groups who have made it their mission to be like, okay, we're building a bridge that's going from our star system here to the center of the galaxy, where there is a location called Colonia, right? Colony. Colonia is like the initial spot where people jumped out to. They scouted all the way out, and then they got toward the center of the galaxy and put down outposts. Now, people could not put down outposts originally. That was all Frontier. So the company, the devs, put that out there. The person responsible for doing that, why am I? Yeah. Is Dr. K. Ross. She was the person in charge of the simulation in order to say, like, where are the stars, and then create like the spatial coordinates for all of the stars in space, and then also to populate the rest of the galaxy with stars. She also went through and said, here are the locations of the stars we know exist, and put all of those in to all of those individual places, like manually added a CSV database to be like, here's the known stars that we have at all, and used all of the catalogs that we have to this day. It was really cool to hear about like the production of all this. They have a, like, Frontier has a simulation system which is all about, was it Planet Forge? No. I think it's just Star Forge. Stellar Forge. Yeah, Stellar Forge. So, Dr. K. Ross was the, like, main person who came up with Stellar, or was in charge of Stellar Forge, and like feeding it the database of known stars so it could then extrapolate the rest of the galaxy, you know, using the known laws of physics. And then she had to manually put in a few extras to be like, okay, look, there's too much space in between, like, the arms of the Orion, or between the Orion arm of the galaxy and the next one over. So if we just leave it as it is, then, like, you'd have to go all the way around. So she created a, like, miniature bridge that just had a few random star systems that were thrown in a few dozen light years apart, so that you could still jump it, but you had to have a decent ship in order to do it. You couldn't just grab, like, a random, you know, starter ship. You'd have to actually get a real one. But yeah, it's man, it's so great. Dr. K. Ross was tributed with the nebula called Dr. K's soul. With a bookmarked star that is listed as Dr. K's heart. Spatial coordinates -8300, -1253, +13,400. Inner Scutum Centaurus arm of the galaxy. Oh, that's great. Yep, that was her retirement present. I say retirement, like she left FDev to try to do some other projects. She also was co-starring in a live play of the Elite Dangerous RPG game. So if anybody is interested in looking that up, Commanders Psyche, Dr. K. Ross, Brother Sabathius, and Taco Trash Can were the four players? I think so. The 4 players of the Elite Dangerous RPG live play. It was great. And Asticon was the GM. So like these are people that I mention and or watch all the time. The other morning when I did an Elite Dangerous stream, we decided to go right out to Psyche, and then we've done Brother Sabathius multiple times, although he's usually off by this point in the night. What in the hell is going on with this? My stream manager's like all messed up tonight. It's not throwing alerts, it's not doing anything. It's great. It's fine. Alright, we need to throw all these things into a corner somewhere. We also need to plug in our HOTAS. Alright. And plug in the other half of the HOTAS, because I took that out when we put the tablet in. Okay, this is gonna yell at me. Cool. Alright. So we do, now that it's actually plugged in, open the game. Oh, yeah, you all can't see it. Also, need to change the... Need to change category. Nope. Okay. What else do we need to do? We need to open the game. We need to log into one of our areas. Okay. And once this opens... I really don't know what I've done to myself here. Okay, so once this opens, we're going to pump our HOTAS in every direction along all four of our axes, because if we don't do this, the second that I get out of here and get released, we're going to start pitching left and damaging our hull. This is what happened last stream, so if anybody actually saw that, it was kind of like, why did you just do that? You just damaged your ship. Like, it was because I hadn't, since plugging in the HOTAS, I hadn't actually pitched all the way, or not pitched, roll. I hadn't rolled both directions. For some reason, like, this HOTAS throws a fit. Whenever you plug it in, it just like automatically thinks it's kind of leaning this way, and that should be a good thing. We should be inputting over here, right? No. So I've just recalibrated it. It should be back to 0. Hopefully that is good enough. Okay, so we're going to go into our inventory. We have, right, 790 tons of titanium. We are currently in the, right, Tashader Sector BG-0860 system, and we have the system colony ship just over there. So, if we're in the same spot that we were last time, then we should come up, get released, pitch to the right, and then the ship will be right there. So, pitch. Lol. Okay, so we're going to leave it here. Just a reminder, right? Zhang Yitang was my proofs professor in college at UNH. He's also responsible for the that project that I totally remember the name of. Arg. Polymath. There we go. So in the Polymath project, Dr. Zhang, or Dr. Zhang's work led to the Polymath project picking up the twin prime conjecture and running with that ball, such that there are now proved to be an infinite number of primes that are at most 246 apart, I believe was the last count. And also he was able to work on the Landau-Siegel conjecture, which is like a sub-type of the Riemann hypothesis. So, like, I don't know, I'm not fluent enough in what he's done, but essentially he has helped toward proving the Landau-Siegel hypothesis to be true, I think, question mark, which is, again, a step toward Riemann hypothesis. When I heard this, I was just like, that is insane. Like, this is two things within, you know, 7 years of each other, essentially. I don't even remember. It was 2013 and 2020? Landau-Siegel zeros conjecture. Oh, that was 2007. What the hell? Oh, okay. In 2022, he got discrete mean estimates and the Landau-Siegel zero. So, yeah, 8 years apart were two papers that, like, people have just been like, how did you do this? How did you guys figure this out? Anyway, I'll be back. I'm gonna grab a drink and check on the laundry downstairs. So, I might as well hit the thing. It's gonna be 3 minutes, and I'll see you in just a little bit. Thank you very much.
Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. Let's free fall.
Okay, we're back. So, Galactic Fleet Carrier, Zhang Yitang. Designation, X-Ray Foxtrot, X-Ray Golf Niner Bravo. Is going to be parked outside of the system colonization ship. We're going to get almost everything we need, almost, in order to properly set up our colony tonight. So we're gonna have, I think, still a few thousand steel left over that we're gonna need to go and haul more of. And then we're probably gonna just leave the carrier, I don't know, we might just leave the carrier out at the pickup system and put a buy order in for like the big stuff that we're gonna need for the next one. Alright, tonight is hashtag not sponsored by Beavertown Bloody Ale beer with juice. Blood orange. Alrighty. So, I'm gonna move this out of the way. Don't want to spill anything here. Yes, it's off to the right. Slightly low by the looks of it. Okay. So we have 790 tons of titanium. We're going to be making most of it. Okay. We're going to be making most runs with 790. Wait a minute. We got a truck. Breaker. What's the point in having a trucker hat if you're not going to actually use it to truck? The hat is most certainly on. Oh, don't crash. Oh no. There we go. Jeez. Oh, we're good. All right. We're tapping the beer. Okay. Don't drink and fly. Lock on. Quest dock. Woohoo! There we go. Almost perfect. Oh, shush. We appear to be not quite able to yep, there we go. Right there that we were going to get stuck. It's looking like we're having a little bit of traffic tonight, so... Let's just check real fast. Galaxy traffic report by Inara. Nice. No. Okay, that's not what we needed. I'm looking for like how many millions of people are logged in. That's not true. Galactic Traffic live on EDSM. That's what it is. Current values. Commanders, 43,468. Jeez. And only about 13,000 of those are from Steam. So that's pretty impressive. 43. The biggest I ever saw on Eve when I was playing that was like 20 some odd thousand. Now granted, it was more than 10 years ago, but still. Sort of like crab our way in. Not quite the technical term in terms of aviation, but pretty close. Sit down. Still 96%. We're all good. I didn't want that. Alright, inventory, transfer. So this is the horrible part. There is no faster way to do this that I have found. Like when it was... when we were... on the other side of this, bringing everything to the carrier, all we needed to do was go up to transfer all to carrier, and it would dump literally everything in the carrier. So no worries, right? It worked. Everything worked very nicely. The problem that we have right now is that I can't put everything into my ship because that's a lot. Go this way, back over, colonization ship. Oops. Missed. Alright, lower and slightly more to the right. So I'm in a online trivia league, and it's pretty interesting. And actually, if Stookie or Zach are here still, you probably have read your Fiddler on the Proof for last week, I think it was. It gave instructions on how Learned League works. So I am a paying member of Learned League. My spouse and I are both in the same my spouse and I are both in the same group, and we play against our friends and each other once every few weeks. we actually end up facing off against each other, so it's a little bit of fun. But you get put in groups called rundles, which then you are facing off against other people in your rundle, as well as if you have like ours is a private rundle, so we have our friends that we're facing off against, as well as our standard rundle opponents. So Zach Vigna-Gross gave the basic synopsis of how it all works, because he's also a paying member of Learned League. But basically, you have 6 questions on like a regular trivia day. You have 6 questions, and you have to say, like, how many points do you think your opponent will score? No, that's not quite right. How many points would you want your opponent to get if they get this right? And you have to base your values off of historic data, your knowledge of the question, and your knowledge of your opponent, which also includes like their historic data. So for instance, pretty much any math question, people are giving me 0. But the restrictions are that you get 1 0, 1 3, 2 1s, and 2 2s. You have to assign 1 0, 1 3, 2 2s, and 2 1s. So how do you how do you move around the numbers based on your historic data, based on your opponent's, your knowledge of your opponent, your knowledge of whether or not the question is like gettable, and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's a really cool exercise in terms of like getting your brain to do some of this extra. I mean, it's math, but it's like soft skill math, so it's kind of cool. So right now I'm looking at my Rundle opponent in my general Rundle. They have answered language and geography questions to greater than 65% accuracy. And none of it has anything to do with that stuff, so that's good. But today we've got one question that is about film slash. There are 2 different ways to get this question correct. So you could get it right based on your knowledge of film. Oops. Or you could get it right based on your knowledge of literature. I mean, realistically, it's not literature so much as it is like mnemonic devices and general English knowledge from English courses. One that you could get from U.S. history and have you voted recently? One that you could get from knowing almost literally any American standards in music. It's like, how well do you know your 1940s standards, basically? one that's a celebration that's done specifically in Kentucky. One that's a general science question, chemistry, and one that is your knowledge of television. So, oop, landing pad 4 is on the other side. So we're not going to see it in these 8. It's going to be on the 8 in the back. Spun the wrong way. Science. 45% versus 42%. It is a fairly gettable and easy science question today. I know it immediately. That's only because I've been doing a lot of work with some of the particular molecules they're talking about. U.S. history, geography, I'm trying to think what else Kentucky is known for. A particular thing, which again I'm not telling everybody because I'm not supposed to get help on this. So I'm not asking questions in terms of like, please give me an answer, but I'm just trying to think out loud of some other things that might be culturally important to Kentucky. Got like Jim Beam Kentucky bourbon. That's not related to this that I can imagine. Number 1, back on the other side again. Could be just a lifestyle question. Construction services. Ditch all this stuff. We have 628 left on titanium. There's the planets. And nice. Essentially roll right out of bed. Nailed it. $628. In theory, I could also just look it up on the map, but I don't want to have to do that. Alright. Depending on what it is, the particular thing in question that we're trying to think of could also be related to a famous movie or something like that, which also would muddy the waters in terms of what the actual answer is and whether or not I would know it. I'm gonna guess that I don't know what they're talking about. I will also not share answers once I get them. $628. We don't even have enough. Cool. Uh-oh. We're gonna have to run back to the other system and grab a couple extra. Oh well. So the other thing that we're gonna do is we have a quick hauler. This is an exceptionally slow hauler. The Type 9 Heavy is literally very heavy. It can also fit almost 800 tons worth of material. Whereas the other fast hauler that we got, the Type 8, is really meant as like a blockade runner, essentially. Poggers? You can get it to move real fast, but still haul 400 tons of stuff. So, a little bit more than half. I think I maxed it out at 404. So, like I said, it's at a little bit more than half the capacity of this thing, and it does pretty well overall. It also really moves into like systems and 2 ships, 2 colonies, etc. a lot faster, and just all around better ship when you need like an in and out sort of thing. Number 1. Head to the back of the ship again. That's not good. Okay, so here we've got 113 titanium left, so I'm going to log that on my sheet. 113 titanium left. And that's locked in, that's not going to change at all. Until we actually go and get it. Ooh, that person's from Canada. So they may not know American history nearly as well. Yeah, they're about a 31% on American history, so that's kind of nice. The other person, I'm guessing, knows it really well. Oops, that's not what I wanted. No, don't do that. Path 6. So close. Alright. Right. CMM composites. So I'm pretty sure I hauled a bunch extra that I don't need, and so we'll save them for the next time that we build something. I don't know whether that's going to be a station or if it's a new system. If it's just another orbital station, like, we can do that. No big deal. But if it's a brand new system, then we're going to have to start something. Start something new in a different system. Probably let the rest of Boot figure it out while we build out the system here. Because I want to build out this system. Their film score is only a 30. But language is their top. Literature is pretty low. Number 3. Back around the other side too. %. Let's go. Oops. Where are we? Given a 2 and a 2 and a 1. I want to know what this person's... Right, film is like 30%, and their language is basically 2/3. So 66, 67%. we've got another 2,000 something. Probably another 3 or 4 trips. And then we got to work on steel, which again, we've got 13,500 total. Forget exactly where we are. We'll figure it out in a minute. Alright, so what's this guy's impossible question? Oops. Nope. Let me go with that one. Pop music. Pretty low, 20%. Much higher with classical music. Those are American standards, so it's we'll go with that one. And yeah, I already did that. I need to figure out what this guy's 0 is. I think it's going to be television. Despite his television score being only 36%, it is, I think, a probably fairly easy question-ish. Next question is, does he watch American television? Or at least have a passing familiarity with it, I suppose. That's kind of what I'm hedging my bets on here. Tonight is going to be more of the same, and everybody seems to have run away. So, probably going to call it here. Let you all go on to, let's probably say Astro Canuck, I think. Unless... Oh, Dr. Gold's on. He's only been on for an hour. Let's go and see Theorem, who is an Elite Dangerous streamer. Been doing a bunch of stuff. She is also a veteran and really awesome person. Oh, not able to raid Theorem. Okay, no, that's fine. Let's go raid Dr. Gold then. Yeah, she probably has raids turned off. That's fine. So, hope you all have a good time. We will be back in a bit. And gonna try and see if we can get most of the stuff hauled for tonight. I think we're gonna have 4,000 steel left over, give or take. And maybe a few more CMM composites. We'll see how it goes. I hope you all have a great time, and we'll see you on Friday for like gamey type stuff and some more, maybe some more like, we'll see if we can get who's it, Lorelei running again this week, because otherwise I'm going to start forgetting stuff. So hope you all have an awesome time. I'll see you later. My name is Obi-Wan Pez. This is N Simplex Pachinko. See you later.